Hey guys, welcome back. Today I want to do a look inspired by using a bunch of different kind of bronze tones. So I'm kind of calling it like a mixed metal inspired look. I'm going to feature the Warrior, and this palette has some really beautiful metallic shades. I kind of like that idea for the holidays, something that's a little bit more reflective, kind of glowy. I'm going to do something inspired by mixing a couple different tones of those neutral bronze shades, and then I'm going to top it off with a little bit of a pigment from MAC. I'll link everything down below if you want to know exactly what I'm using. I think the holidays, it's kind of fun to play up texture and things that have a little bit more shine and shimmer, a little bit more glitzy. So today is going to be just that. I'm going to be doing the Koh Gen Do liquid foundation, which gives kind of like a spa glow, with a little bit of a fuller coverage concealer just to kind of brighten under the eyes. The Charlotte Tilbury Bronze and Glow for my skin, but I may even do a little Fenty product. We'll see. So I just got a bunch of different things, and I'm just going to kind of play and see where this takes us. Instead of priming with a concealer, I'm going to actually go in with the Laura Mercier little stick here. I'm just going to draw this on my lower lid, kind of to the crease. You could literally just do like this, blend it out, add a liner, and you're good to go. But of course, I'm going to make it a little bit more complicated than that. So I'm going to just take a little fluffy brush, kind of blend this up a bit. I love these little Caviar sticks. They really are a quick, easy way to kind of pull a look together. They come in multiple different colors. She actually came out with more of a matte texture as well, which is kind of nice. So if you just want just more cream shadows rather than powders, sometimes powders can look a little bit chalky and dry. So if you're somebody who likes more cream textures, those little sticks are perfect. I did use, I think, one of the black ones in my black smoky eye tutorial. A little coffee to get my morning going. And I'm going to start off with this guy and then probably move to this guy and then see kind of what shimmery shades I want to work with. But I'm starting out with kind of more of my matte ones right now. I'm going to go ahead and take that kind of more vanilla shade. I'm kind of just doing right up underneath the brow, not really hitting where I actually put the little Caviar stick. I'm just kind of working underneath the brow. And then next I'm going to take kind of that brown color, which is, I feel like, kind of caramely, and kind of work this in my crease. But I don't want anything too structured here. I just kind of want this to kind of warm the crease up, and then I'm going to kind of move it up underneath the brow a bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to probably do quite a bit of blending, because I typically like eyeshadow looks to have a nice blend. I'm definitely not like the cut crease type of girl. So I've done this guy, and then I'm going to go in this one here. It's definitely on the opposite spectrum of the crease color. I really want this look to kind of have a mixture of different bronze tones. So I'm going to go in with this one here, and I'm just kind of going to stamp this kind of into place, keeping the center still kind of bare, kind of pushing it. These definitely have a nice amount of pigment to them, and they're very soft, so typically soft shadows will have a little bit more drop down or fallout. Sometimes using them in a little bit more of this kind of pushing and patting motion. And then I always kind of like to look forward to see the shape that I'm creating, because our eyes are definitely not symmetrical. Keep in mind the shape that you're working with. And wipe that brush out. I always have a little towel next to me. I think I say that in almost all my videos. I'm going to use that same color actually, but I do want a smaller brush. I'm going to go kind of into the inner corner here, because I kind of want this to have like a halo effect. So kind of placing that right kind of on this inside corner. And again, kind of like this pushing, patting. Clean, soft kind of blending brush here. Very lightly, just kind of softly kind of grazing over those areas. And I'm kind of meeting it up into the crease a little bit too. Just blending that up. So we're just softening everything and kind of blending it all together. And these eyeshadows are definitely affordable, and they have like I said, really nice pigment. They're a little bit on the soft side, so just know that there'll probably be a little bit of fallout with them. Next, I want to do, let's see, I did this all over, this through the crease, this on the outer and inner corners. I kind of want to go in and do a little bit of this kind of copper tone and just again kind of layering where I've been blending and kind of placing those other tones. This one I'm concentrating through the outside corner, and then you can see I'm keeping that center kind of open because I am going to go in with a lighter shade, and then I think I'll top that off with the pigment from MAC that I have. I think I'm going to go in with this one here. I was thinking this, but that might be an inner corner highlight, so I think I'll go in with this, picking up a little bit right on my finger and pushing that kind of right in the center. I love how bright that is. Ooh, that's pretty. Almost just like right where everything kind of meets, just kind of like pushing. I'm going to go in with that lighter shade, the one in the middle that I was thinking for the inner highlight. The goal was to try and use as many of these as possible, and I've done pretty good. We're not done yet, so we'll see. Again, I don't want much of a highlight here because everything else is really kind of glowy. Kind of buff that together. Take that light one a little bit underneath here, the crease color that I used, and kind of come underneath here. I'm going to go back in with the third shade I used, which is kind of that cooler tone, and I'm just going to intensify this little corner here. And I don't want this look to be heavy on the liner, but we do need something to give a little bit of definition, so I'm just taking that. And then I'm wiping out one of my little pencil brushes and just smudging that out. Again, looking straight forward so you can see the shape that you're creating. I'm going to go in with the waterline as well with this. And then I'm just going to close my eyes and just kind of running this just along just to buff it into the lash line. I'm going to start working on the skin in a second, and then I'll probably come back to the eyes and finish that up. But I'm going to take a tiny bit of the black that's in this palette very lightly. I'm just kind of working this a little bit on the outer edges where the liner is, and then I'm just going to kind of buff that out. I just kind of laid it right against that little portion of the liner, and then I'm just going to soften that out. Now let's get started on the skin, which is my favorite part. I'm going to actually just go ahead and clean up underneath my eyes. This is just a little bit of Fix Plus on a Q-tip, and I'm just kind of cleaning up these little edges too. A little foundation. I like to shake this one up, and I'm probably going to do a couple layers of this. I like to start out with just like one pump, work that into my brush. I always like to kind of hit the center of the face, just start buffing that in. The best way to work this foundation is actually in layers and let them dry, because then you can actually kind of build it. Go in and do my brows. I'm just going in with Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Gel. Sometimes that's all I want, but with this eye, we may need to fill it in just to bring a little bit more structure. Sometimes if your eye's a little bit more dramatic, you need to create a little bit of balance. So we'll see once everything's done. If I need to add something to these, I will. But right now, I kind of just want them brushed up and just kind of natural looking. I'm going to go in with this fuller coverage concealer, and I'm only using a little bit because I've been dry lately, so I don't want this to look too dry on my skin. So I'm just going to do that. And I definitely use a wet little beauty sponge. I feel like it helps it from looking too heavy when you apply it with a damp sponge. And whatever's left, because I'll tell you there's plenty left on this sponge. I'm just kind of hitting those areas that I know I kind of maybe like a bit more brightness. So through the forehead, this side right here, the chin. I'm going to take my brush. I feel like this really works everything in. And if there's anything that's residual kind of sitting on the skin, I feel like it kind of just picks it up. And then you can just kind of still just work and marry all those things together. I think I will show you these little Fenty sticks. They're pretty easy. This one is truffle, so it is definitely more on like the bronzy side. I think this is great. I feel like when it's like summer for me, but I'm just gonna go for it. I'll make it work. So with these, you can go directly in and start contouring. Sometimes I like to actually just do this a little bit more strategically. I'll take a little bit on a Real Techniques contour brush and just lightly kind of pick that up. There's a lot on there. And I'm just going to start buffing really lightly. And then I'm going to kind of bring that up on my forehead as well. Kind of add some warmth through the halo of your face. And you can just keep buffing. And then you can actually even go in with your foundation brush afterwards and marry all of it together. Kind of whatever's left on here. I'm not really into contouring my nose, but I know a lot of people like that. I like to hit my chin a little bit. And then if you feel like you need a little bit more blending, take your brush and just push. I love these. I think they're worth it if you find your colorway. They are paired perfectly, so if you haven't used these, they're really fun over the top of your foundation for adding a little warmth, shape, highlight, a little bit of color, and then they also have like your concealer shades. So I want to go in and do a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Bronze and Glow palette, and I'm going to just use a bigger full brush for the bronzer. I want this pretty diffused. By putting a little bit of this over the Fenty stick, it just kind of sets that cream product. So this will make this wear a little longer, and then it also gives a little bit of a tad bit more of a bronze glow feel. So I'm just kind of warming the edges on the side of the nose, down my neck. Don't forget down through like here if you're warming things up. There is a highlight on the other side, so I'm going to go ahead and dip into that just with like a little fluffy brush. Highlight here. This also makes a really great highlight for the inner corner of the eye. You just kind of softly like buff back and forth. When you do that, it kind of enhances the shine. Very soft pressure, so you're kind of buffing it. It definitely was kind of feeling more of a kind of full glam look. This is quite a bit of makeup for me on a day off. Okay, now I want to go in and use this little MAC pigment on my eyes. I'm just going to take this small little pencil brush, and I'm going to also wet the brush with a little Fix Plus. It's really pretty. And you don't need much of this. The pigments are kind of fun because they give a really, really nice sheen. So I'm just going to take a fluffy brush right now and then just pat. I do feel like we might need a little more structure on my brows. I'm doing lingering. Just a little bit. I don't want much because I still like having this kind of natural brow. And with these little pens, it's better to try and apply from this way so the gravity actually goes towards the tip. So holding upwards in small little strokes. Try and move in the direction of what the way that your hair actually grows. Like these ones kind of grow in this direction. This is like up this way. I'm gonna go in with, I feel like with this look, a lot of the more gold tones are coming through, and I want to see a tiny bit more of this one. So I'm going to go in with an angled brush and dip right into that, and I'm going to work that kind of to my lower lash line. Excuse the mirror. And I'm also pulling up as well up top, right on that eyeliner. That I kind of focused a little bit more on the outer corner. Sometimes I'll take like a little angled brush, look straight ahead, kind of skim this little outer corner here. Let's go in and do some mascara. I would recommend something definitely on the thicker side. think for special events, lashes are kind of a must. If I need to come back and do another coat, I will. That was the Lash Paradise, which I really do like. And then my go-to for my bottoms always is Extended Play by MAC. I'm not doing any setting powder. My skin's just too dry and aging. So I like to kind of try and stay away from powders when you're on the drier side because it doesn't really do anything great. I'd sometimes like to run a little bit of this over because it is a waterproof mascara and it also kind of dries, so it keeps my lashes, I feel like, a little bit more lifted when I finish with the Extended Play. Okay, I haven't done a blush yet. Do you think I need it? I do. I think blush really pulls a look together. So I'm going to actually use a little NARS palette here, Dual Intensity Cheek Palette. They have these really beautiful shades. Camera's not picking it up so much, but I would say like this one's kind of slightly like a bronzy rose shade. This one has a little bit more of a peachiness to it here. So we're coming down here and I might even just pop a little bit over just to this little highlight over my cheek. So I'm taking a smaller little brush and just picking up a little bit there, kind of work it into the brush so it's not just sitting on that surface. You've actually kind of pressed it in. Sometimes I like to kind of go over where I've done some bronzer. I love blush. I think it really pulls the look together. And I'm going to go in with that lighter one, just a smidge right over the top of the blush, kind of closer to the eye here. I'm going to take that light one that I just did, and I'm going to come back in and I'm going to highlight there. One thing I didn't think about is lips, like always. When I get super focused on an eye look, I totally forget about the lip, and then I get to this point and go, I didn't think that through. But I do happen to have my Lisa Eldridge lipsticks. Let's just go for it. I mean, this was kind of a glam look, I guess, is what I said I was going to do. So maybe we'll just do Velvet Ribbon. I'm just going to smooth out the edges a bit because I don't really want to go in with a lip pencil. I think that's kind of pretty. Sometimes you do need a bit more blush. Okay, I'm going to go in with the same blush. I was thinking about adding a little bit of this lipstick on my cheeks so it just goes together. I'm going to go in and just add a touch of this black brown. I'm just going to kind of add it right to this outer corner. I think this is a fun holiday look. If you wanted to enhance it even more, you can go ahead and pop on some individual lashes or a strip lash, maybe intensify the liner, but I definitely like the idea of doing more bronzy tones and mixing all the different shades. We used kind of a copper, we used one that's kind of like a taupey, almost has like a plum undertone to it. It was kind of fun to be able to kind of mix them together. This is definitely more of a party look. I will link all the products below. Let me know if you like this look. Leave a comment, interact. Let me know if you like this. Say something. Tell me something. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Ding.